Hi, so we're running low on supplies, so we're going to try to make a lasagna tonight. We're going to try to see if there's anything remaining. We haven't been watering this, so it's kind of looking all... That is... So normally I have watering tools, and this would actually be far worse if I didn't have, like I use some hugelkultur stuff, which in a big area... it would work just fine to have the wood act like a sponge. And so normally what you would do is you take some old wood like that and you put it at the base and it will work as a sponge, and then you put the compost and then you put the soil on top. And actually these plants aren't really doing, it could be doing much worse because it has been dry and it hasn't rained in quite some time, a couple days. And plants in pots tend to need more water. And there are a lot of plants, a lot of radishes in here. Let's see. Did we pick up all, Eagle, did you take all the big greens? These are not very big greens here. Let's see. These are not as big as I was hoping for.
There aren't very many big greens over here.
These are all wilted.
Wilted and small, yeah.
So,
big greens on the side, yeah.
Let's grab a couple. Now I think these are all daikon radishes, so if I were to water it, they will turn into nice big roots. I'm not very good at regular radishes because they usually need more water, and I don't water. And actually, if you are also a person like me who has a brown thumb, I have a very big brown thumb, as you can tell by this limp radish here. But if you are like me who has a limp... and see how actually just having the pot on top, see how you have a one pot and then another pot on top? This actually retains the water and moisture in there. It doesn't evaporate off. When you have it completely open like this, then it evaporates off, and so the soil all dries faster. But do you see this one? If I were to lift up this pot, it has... Actually, I could lift it up. You can't see the moisture. Oh yeah, you kind of see a little bit. It's a little bit moist down there. So it holds that moisture in better. So there's different tricks that you can do if you're like me who doesn't water. One is the hugelkultur, where you use the wood at the bottom. Another one, which this one does not have, which would help it, would be something called Oya irrigation, and I will do that on a different different video. But then also having a pot on top or something to help the moisture. You can either use mulch or something to keep the moisture from evaporating off the top surface. And these are really nice leaves, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them and not pick them because I think that's really pretty how it is. So let's go to another radish. And you see how I plant where just everywhere, and so this is just in the crack, and this actually is doing really well.
Yeah, that one came from seed probably.
Do you know why it's doing well? It's doing well because there is no...
no competition.
Yeah, that too. But all the concrete is holding the moisture in around it, so it actually keeps it from drying out.
Because of the debris, the organic debris that gets caught in there, it actually does churn soil.
Right, and and it's compact soil under there. It's very compact, very clay hard soil for especially Houston. So technically the roots don't have, that's the reason why this plant is smaller than this is a one where the roots had chances to go down, and so it's a big tall plant. I mean, look at it, it's like taller than my hand, whereas this one is no bigger than my hand, and that's because it's compact soil. So, but it's doing better because the concrete is preventing it from evaporating off. But I'm still not going to use that because we're looking for some big greens. So here, see, look over here. We have some big greens that we can use in our lasagna. Our attempt at a lasagna, and that will be a different video.
Vegan lasagna.
So you can go to Eating Light, Cooking Light for the for the video about.
Link possibly in the description or popping up.
That is if we decide to video it. I'm not exactly sure if we are going to video it or not. Can you carry that? And so he's going to probably. I don't know. I think I'll put the stalks in it too. But do you see how big it can get? These radish greens can get really nice and large. And so this other plant that's a weed. And a lot of people hate it because it's a sticky plant. It's called Velcro weed, and it sticks to everything. It is actually edible. And in fact, you know, Eagle, Well, they say it's not as good once it starts flowering. If we can
could
find
use it, but
some
it's
that's
here.
not flowering,
Most of it's now flowering.
oh.
And it's flowering into the fruits, little seeds.
But it is technically edible for some people, not everyone, because if you are allergic to it, if you're allergic to it, you want to use gloves before you touch it because it can cause a rash. But if you're not allergic to it, then you could just cook it up and eat it. And also, look at this weed right here. This is one of our favorites. We put it in...
Chickweed.
Actually, there's several plants here. Wow. There's a vetch plant for nitrogen. There is sunflower I planted in there. There's sorrel. But my favorite is this chickweed.
Vetch, chickweed, that's the sorrel.
Yeah. Sorrel right there in his hand, chickweed in my hand. And this is great as a lettuce substitute, and it works wonderful on, what do you call it? Hamburgers, or if you...
It also makes a beautiful background picture.
Yes, it makes beautiful. That's the picture we have for our Edible Urban Oasis Facebook page.
Do you actually have that one?
Yes, I think so. At least I thought I did put it there. All right, let's get... Oh, I just snapped it off. Sorry about that.
Oops. I can hold the green for you.
Sure, there you go. And you know what, let's use this rotten one. We'll go ahead and put it back in there with the compost. Put the dead leaves back in the dirt so that the nutrients that got pulled out get put back in it.
Ready to pick off this one?
Yeah, that looks good. Good one. And again, this all needs watering, so kiddo, if you think you could water some of these tomorrow, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
If they get too sickly, then a fungus can come over and take over the plants, and that's no fun. Now, what's really interesting here, this radish, I had actually picked off this entire radish the other day, and you can see it's already come back.
Oh, that might be bigger.
And this one, part of the reason why it's doing so nicely is because the pot is actually connected to the dirt underneath. And so even though it's a smaller pot and getting less water,
It's probably actually going through the pot, yeah.
it's going through the pot probably most likely. Yeah, sure is. And it's
And the
rooted.
pot helps hold water underneath it. So for the roots that are underneath the pot, they're really good.
Exactly. And so yeah, so that is another trick to do to making sure that if you're going to have a pot, then you have it on the fresh ground underneath so that it can keep re-rooting all the way down. All right, so these should be good. Now, I have an allergic reaction to radish greens, actually. It's very spiny.
Well, yeah. Many radish greens, when they're being attacked by aphids, they have this natural defense of becoming really spiny, and it's really annoying.
Ouch! Yeah,
On
you
the-
can see
look on the leaves.
that one was one that had gotten eaten by something, and it was
Like,
really...
you see, like this one, it's getting covered in aphids.
Right.
And
you know what?
And it's getting kind of... Well, this leaf actually not doing as much as the others, but they'll get spiny. They're
And
really
those
spiny.
are really, one, they're nutrition. If you want to put them in your food, I know people are like, ew, yeah. But
I like it.
you don't really have to eat them. It's really...
I guess you cook them anyways,
You
so,
could
right?
spray your plants with all kinds of stuff, and I used to take the effort.
You could spray it with molasses. That's a they're more likely to attack plants that are weak. So if you spray it with molasses, then they won't think it's weak.
Right. So you could take the time, and I did, once upon a time, take the time to spray my plants. But you know what I found? Well, there was one year where it was really bad out, and I didn't spray, and if you don't spray and you let them go bad, then the beneficial bugs come and eat yum yum, and then the beneficial bugs are in your yard, and so it tends to
And also, many
even
plants,
out.
like radish, have their own biological defenses that are quite effective, though maybe more effective against humans, less effective against the bugs, but whatever.
Ow, here is this one.
Right?
Well, yeah. All right. I think this is enough.
This is definitely more than enough.
And see, look,
Here.
even though this has got aphids on it, it's actually doing better than the other one where it had dried out because it's got the extra moisture in there. Water really does help. But there are, again, tricks to making it so that you don't have to water. As I said, I don't water my plants, so although the other radishes, I think I will just put a little bit of water in there just to help it along. But okay, well, this is a long enough video for this. So this is just collecting our radish greens for our lasagna. You need to go to the Edible Urban Oasis. No, I'm sorry. Well, yes, go to Edible Urban Oasis Facebook page.
Right.
And then also to learn about other tips and tools. And also go to our eating light, cooking light to see the lasagna that we will hopefully make our video later. I don't know for sure if we will, but
Bye.
bye. Mwah.